And returning to one of our top stories this hour, this afternoon, President Biden will sign an executive action that will allow him to shut down the border to asylum seekers if illegal crossings reach 2,500 a day. Now, the border would reopen only when they fell below 1,500. Right now, for some context, daily encounters are averaging above 4,000, which means this executive action could effectively shut down the border immediately. I want to get reaction from Texas Democratic Congressman Greg Casar, who's a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. He represents part of San Antonio and Austin. Congressman, thank you so much for taking the time. How do you view this executive action expected today by President Biden?
I have real disagreements and concerns with this executive action because I think it plays into the current Republican talking points. You see, the Republican Party here in Congress tries to cover up its own failures by scapegoating immigrants. It's the oldest trick in the book. And they continue to advocate for closing legal pathways to migration and pointing at chaos at the border. Unfortunately, they've created this political pressure that has the president today responding by restricting asylum, which isn't going to work because it doesn't actually reduce the number of people being pushed out of their homes in Latin America. It doesn't actually create new legal pathways for people to migrate here. And so I think we need an alternative, progressive vision for what will work on the border. And that's why today I'm announcing that I'm drafting legislation to drastically reduce the amount that the United States is contributing to forced migration. I think if we want to address what's happening at the border, we need to create legal pathways so that folks don't have to go to the cartels or wait in line at the border. If we want to address what's going on in our community on immigration, we should finally provide protections to our dreamers and to longtime families here. And then third, we need to do what folks in D.C. don't want to talk about, which is how are U.S. policies actually contributing, especially in places like Latin America, to starvation and poverty and violence that is pushing people out of their homes in record numbers. That's why I'm drafting legislation to finally start tackling that issue.
I mean, you mentioned those push factors, which are driving a lot of the people to come to the southern border seeking better life, seeking protection from violence, from poverty, and all of that. What you just outlined, though, doesn't necessarily address those specifics. And so how does what you've outlined reduce the number of people who are trying to get across the border that is overwhelming the system right now?
The Congress needs to pass comprehensive immigration reform. But short of that, the president has options available, and the Congress should be talking about those options, and that's what's in my legislation. We should look at these outdated Trump-era sanctions policies that we have against countries like Venezuela that are starving people in their home countries. It wouldn't cost us a penny to pull back on those policies and let people actually economically thrive in their home country. We should be looking at what is contributing to violence in Latin America. If you look at countries like the Dominican Republic or Mexico, a huge proportion, and oftentimes the majority of the guns and weapons that are recovered there, especially from criminal gangs, are made and trafficked from the United States. So we need to stop contributing and start pulling back on the ways that the U.S. policy is actually pushing folks out of Latin America. And then for the folks that want to move, just as people have for the entire history of our country, we need a more legal, safe, and orderly system for the people that want to come here so that they can in a legal manner. Unfortunately, we have a Republican majority House that is blocking that. The president shouldn't cave into their pressure and instead should be opening up legal pathways on his own, trying to protect people here on his own if the Republicans won't support him, and stop contributing through foreign policy to making life in Latin America worse.
Well, look, Congressman, a lot of Americans believe the Republican position on this and agree with what they have presented. An NBC News poll last September, for example, gave Republicans an 18 percentage point advantage over Democrats when it comes to dealing with immigration. That's an all-time high for the GOP. It's an all-time low deficit for Republicans. How do you explain that?
We need a clear vision that isn't just Republican light. Right now, we have President Trump saying he's just going to solve the problem and he's just going to crack down. But we know that he's a con artist and a grifter. We know that he's not serious about solving the problem. But I don't think we can beat the Republicans at their own game here by playing Republican light. Instead, we need a strategy that the American people believe will work. which means 1, working in Latin America to reduce forced migration, 2, having legal pathways so that there's order at the border,
right,
and 3, protecting the folks here. And here's what I'd say. Too often, the chaos at the border that the Republicans campaign on is caused by the Republicans themselves. So I think we need to call them out rather than playing into their own hands. They're currently the arsonists, and they point at the firefighters and say it's the firefighters' fault for the fire, and we need to call them out for that rather than saying, well, maybe you've got a point there, Mr. Arsonist.
It just doesn't seem like the American people believe that the Democrats have a handle on this situation. When you look at the polling, I mean, there's a lot more. Right now, Trump has a 30-point edge on this issue of immigration over President Biden. There's polling recently by the AP showing Latinos support Biden with only a 9-point advantage over Trump. And reminder, President Biden won the Latino vote by 28 points in 2020.